Alright guys, let's spark up a conversation here with a simple question. What if Bunny didn't exist in the first Descendant? If Bunny didn't exist, would it have kept the game alive with more concurrent players right now? Or do you think that the game wouldn't even be relevant at all? It's clear that MMOs are meant to cater to a variety of playstyles due to the nature of building a character to your specific needs, but it was a bit obvious that the developers for the first Descendant wanted you to use Bunny and maybe even stay on Bunny to farm all the content they had to offer at launch, and that was just to try to keep their game relevant for a while, right? Yeah, this is where it gets kind of spicy on thoughts and opinions depending on what perspectives you look at this topic from. On one hand, we have people really digging the need for Bunny in the start of the game. It does facilitate their needs to farm other Descendants and clear certain missions faster than any other Descendant in the game right now. And that's not even mentioning the weapons, of course, you need those too. Well, maybe not if you're playing Bunny. Actually, it doesn't even matter who you play because there's going to be 3 other bunnies in every mission you do in this game, so never mind, forget the weapons. Hear me out. With that particular point in mind, I feel like it's what made a lot of players stay in the game, most likely players that are new to MMOs because of how easy the game made it to play through at the start of this game. That being said, that's why the first Descendant made its popularity numbers go up. Anyone could just play and be good at the game. Anyone could just try a new MMO here and just finish the campaign. Maybe that's why there was a load of players in the beginning. If Bunny didn't exist, do you think the game would have gained traction like it did? Or do you think that it would have been a very stale MMO that didn't give us a quote-unquote fun character to use at the start of the game? Because regardless, the first Descendant had a very lackluster of content from the jump. And to be honest, all things considered in the MMORPG world, other games in this genre would probably offer a better playthrough. While giving you access to one of the most overpowered Descendants from the jump, you don't need to worry about anything else other than skill cooldown and spam builds. Bunny set the precedent for what an optimal build should be in other Descendants, and this is where the community started to see no use for any other character. No matter how you presented another build next to Bunny, she was just dominant. To conclude this side of the argument, but obviously this doesn't limit the points I made to these few things because yeah, we can go on forever. I think the first Descendant having Bunny in the beginning does indeed let new players try a game like this and not get so frustrated with not knowing how to quote-unquote build and just play the game for what it had to offer at the time of release. It made people stick to the first Descendant with a high pacing adrenaline of a Descendant like Bunny in combat, giving those people that are not used to MMORPGs and treat this game like a laid back looter shooter with an easy to understand concept from Bunny. But do you really think this is why the first Descendant survived? These types of games are supposed to have different characters do different objectives in the game. Farming builds, bossing builds, mobbing, etc, etc, even with very niche builds to take on certain dungeons, invasions, and solo play even if you prefer that. But why even bother for any of that when Bunny can just clear the field and it's just as efficient sometimes? And yes, we just started season 2 and until now we're beginning to see a variety of builds and characters, but still through the entirety of the preseason and season 1, it's been W key the whole time. Anyways, on the other hand, we have the argument that Bunny makes the game a bit unplayable and it's just a rinse and repeat formula for everything in the game to where you genuinely have no choice but to fit in or not play at all. That right there alone will naturally push players away or not even pull new players to begin with, I think. And anyone that would hear about this game would know that because social media exists and we're all keyboard demons putting our thoughts and opinions in the comments of this video. If Bunny did not exist, would it have made other players stay and try to understand build mechanics better and focus on other aspects of the game besides just a do all be all Bunny build? It was obvious that Bunny was overused and abused by everyone. Yes, everyone meaning you too, because even if you didn't play the character or even craft her, you still did. Hell, even if you managed to come this far and not have her unlocked for some reason, the current event right now is giving away Ultimate Bunny for free, so yeah, the developers are just dead set on you grinding with Bunny. Go in Albion and say you never used Bunny, no one's gonna believe you, because guess what? You did even when you didn't. We can agree that Bunny does serve a good purpose in the sense of being able to stay on top of a certain grind because of her ability to do it fairly quickly. If Bunny didn't exist, would the tedious farm from the jump be more time consuming? Is this a good thing or a bad thing? But of course, that's also depending on the kind of player you are. Would the tryhards and MMO heads be all for it and just told you to get good or go back to Fortnite kid? Or would the casuals and anyone else that does not have time and money to put in this game say this game is too hard, it's too dull, pointless, not user friendly, slow pacing, hard to get past dungeon bosses without an AoE clearing it next to them? They would then see that their build, who isn't Bunny, lacks in damage because they went full survivability, and not to throw shots at those players that are stuck with random bunnies carrying through the whole game. Like, how would they even know what their build needs when they can't even test if they can kill or get killed? These players are just playing the looter part, not the shooter part. So does that mean that all these players are only getting half the experience? I see now why people would step away from the first Descendant, saying it lacked something else, or sometimes they quite couldn't put a say on what it was. When the game came out and everyone was getting to know and understand the game, no one knew all too well yet on who were the better Descendants or weapons, so it was an obvious pass to take with the Bunny and the Thunder Cage because of its availability at level 10. She was a free Descendant from the game that you could use after you already got bored of using one of the 3 Descendants you picked from the opening scenes of the game, because since you didn't know anything about anything, free characters and new abilities are always intriguing and enticing to use, right? mechanics, this topic is clearly a divided one because there is also a good portion of people that don't think that Bunny needs a nerf and they understand why she was given to us at the start of the game. The argument for these group of people is that it's a PvE game and that everyone should play to their own pacing and liking. And I agree with that, and I fuck heavy with that. If you don't like the Bunny mechanic being overused in your game all around you, then just put your game in private and go through your game solo. That way you're not uninterrupted by the Sweat Lord opening as 173rd Amorphous in the same dungeon you so happen to be on just from playing the game normally. It's 2024, about to be 2025, and the gaming space has changed drastically along with how many people look at games and play them. That being said, I'm not going to go in depth on this particular sentence. It can be a video on its own, but I would like to say because of this right now, it seems that most of us are just wanting to get through the games that we start to get the best we can possibly get from the game as fast as we can possibly get it, with half-ass completing it along the way. Time is of essence in general, and we tend to play video games like that now. It just always feels like a race to get to certain ranks and levels. Yes, I'm bringing that up because the First Ascendant came out this year in 2024. It's still a fairly new game in the gaming industry today, and we have already had a roller coaster of whys and hows from us to the game developers, an abundance of calling out changes and questioning why they went about some of their decisions a certain way. It feels like the majority of people playing a game now have a need to be catered to on a certain level, or they will claim that the game is just trash and not fun. Just take a look at what was going on with Path of Exile 2. Like, are we really just crying about the games not being easy to us on the first run? Don't get me wrong, the First Ascendant had a lot, and I mean a lot of great quality of life changes that have made the game more bearable or even feasible in some cases to play this game's mechanics, but I digress. What do you think the First Ascendant would be like if money didn't exist? Let me know down below because the comment's going to be a spicy one.